and welcome to my YouTube channel. And yes, I wish you all a happy new year. It's already the 3rd January, but I think it's still, the year is still new. And yes, happy new year. I think this is the first time you see me painting in real time. I don't do that very often because it always takes so long to upload the videos when they are so long, and when I'm painting I almost use more than half an hour, and here I just was 20 minutes or something, and I thought, okay, this is okay to upload. My upload speed here is not the fastest, sorry. And yes, so I have a bit more time for talking, and in the beginning I will explain a bit what I'm doing here on the paper, and then after this I thought I could answer some questions I got really often. Well, let's start. Here I'm, yes, obvious painting some plants. This is what I did recently very often, just painting random plants on different papers. I'm testing papers right now. I don't know, for those who already saw my haul video, I got some new papers and I plan to do a video about my papers and about watercolor papers, and so yes, I paint to test them at the moment, and I'm painting just random plants on it, and it's really fun. It's really relaxing. I don't know why it's always so relaxing painting just random things without thinking. It's really really nice and makes me happy. And I discovered a new color here. Well, I didn't discover it because I already knew this color, but I discovered to use it a bit more because it makes such a nice granulation. And it's the color cobalt turquoise. And yes, here I mixed it with yellow, with a green yellow and caput mortuum, a brown tone, so I get different green tones with it. And you see, maybe, I don't know if you see this in the video, the nice granulation, the pigments of the cobalt turquoise separate from the other pigments and set down, and it looks really nice, and it's really fun to watch the colors moving around on the paper. It's really nice to watch. Well, I think here you can see it a bit, but later I will zoom in the picture, then you will see it a bit better. Yes, and I paint, as I said, random plants without any reference or pre-drawing, just directly on the paper with the paint. And if you don't do that often, you should, because it's kind of it's kind of a meditation and really relaxing and fun. Well, in the end I add some details with polychromos again, and also with the lighter parts with some gouache, with some yellow gouache I mixed with water and paint. I use very high pigmented gouache and fill them up in some paint marker, so it's easier to paint some details, and it's also easier, so you just open a pen and paint or draw with it, and you don't have to open the tubes. And yeah, I don't know, I made me some paint markers with gouache, and I prefer using gouache than acrylic paint because it's the texture is more matte, not that glossy or shiny, and also if you make mistakes, you can better correct it. That's the reason. And yeah. Okay, I think that is everything I have to say about my little plant here. It's nothing special, just really something easy. And I think this is the reason why it's so fun. And then I will start with answering some questions I get really often. Well, I think the most frequently questions I get, or almost every artist get, is about the materials they're using or I am using, and this is the reason why I started the making the video about my watercolor paints, and the next video, as I said, is about watercolor paper. So I think I don't need to answering these questions here. I just wanted to let you know that the next video is coming soon. And one thing again, what's really important, it's not the brand that makes the difference, it's more the quality of the colors. So if you really want high quality colors, I would recommend to buy just a few colors, but high quality, than a whole set with 24 or 48 colors, but not that good quality. So because you don't need much colors if you have high quality colors, because you can mix them very good. They don't get muddy when you mix them, and the student watercolors, the cheaper ones, have chalk and filler in it, and when you mix them too much, they get muddy, and yes, and they are not that luminous like high quality artist watercolors. So this is a recommendation, a little recommendation. Yes, and you really, when you can mix using high quality colors and you can mix them perfectly, you only need about 5 or 6 colors. It's totally enough. You don't need a whole palette. Well, next questions is about my style. I really got these questions very often. How I developed my style, and how long it takes. And there's really difficult questions, because artists almost don't realize when they get their style. It just happens. It's also that you don't search for it, or that you make it that you don't decide, okay, I want a style and I make a style. That's nothing what will work. So I think the best thing you can do to develop your own style is don't think about your style, just paint. And your style comes with time, and it took a while. You have maybe a few years until you have your style. Maybe shorter, but well, it will come when you paint a lot and experiment a lot, and you will find what works for you. And it don't help when you always think about this and that you force yourself to construct a style. This is really not helpful. And yes, and if you don't think about it, it will come, and then you will also, and if you experiment a lot, you will learn a lot, and with it comes bit by bit. And what also not help is when you study or when you're copying styles of your favorite artists. It's where you want your own style, so make your own style. Don't copy other artists. Of course, it's maybe helpful to study the style of other artists, but not only from one artist. Study styles of different artists and try to do your own thing, and experiment a lot with styles and techniques, and then you will maybe get a very, very unique style. Something no one had before. Yes, this is what I think. And next question I would to answer is, and I really got often, well, all questions I'm answering here I get really often, so that's the reason why I'm answering them, about how I mix my skin tones and how I do cheeks and shadows on my skin. And well, mixing skin tones are always do different, because I'm using a lot of palettes. Sometimes I use my Schmincke watercolor, sometimes I use my Daniel Smith watercolors, sometimes my White Nights or Kuretake watercolors, and all sets have different colors in it, so I'm always have to use other colors. And it's also that I don't paint always the same skin tone. Sometimes I make it a bit reddish, sometimes a bit more yellowish, and sometimes more brown or darker. And yes, it always depends on what I want, and yes, and also about the colors I'm using for the rest. So it's very different, but I will do a video about this, also how I paint cheeks. It's a bit difficult to explain. It's easier to show you how I make cheeks and shadows on skin tones. So yes, stay tuned, I will do a video about this. Next questions, if I do commissions and if I sell my art. Well, I think when they ask for commissions, they mean private commissions. So I am a freelance illustrator, and of course I do commissions, but more commercial commissions, or I don't know how to call it, but not that much private commissions, more projects, bigger projects I'm working on. And that's the reason why I sometimes don't have so much time for doing private commissions, and this is the reason why I only do this very, very rarely. So from time to time, when I have a bit more time and I want to make this, I make this, but I also need my free time for my personal paintings and sketches and experiments. So I do only do this from time to time. But I have an Etsy store, and of course I'm selling my art there, prints and stickers, and sometimes also handmade stuff I did, and of course also sometimes original, but originals are not that often in my store, because it's really hard for me to give my originals away. I don't know, it's like to give away a part of yourself. Well, sometimes I sell some, so yeah. But I also post it on my Instagram or on my Tumblr when I'm selling art, so stay tuned. And of course I will link to my Etsy store in the description box. Next, about colors. Yes, my colors I'm using are also very different. It's not that I have just a few colors I'm always using, and of course I also have sometimes favorite colors, but they are changing, my favorite colors. And yes, it's like here I really like to use this cobalt turquoise, and this is what I really like to use recently. I don't know. And colors is not a thing I think much about. I don't know. It's maybe because I already know a lot about colors, about color theory, and also about color chemistry. So I don't need to plan color combinations or palettes. So it comes from my stomach, and it almost works because I know what I'm doing and I know what goes well together. But when I found a combination I really like, I paint them in a little sketchbook I have just for color combinations and yes, new colors. When I buy new colors, I'm always testing them first on the back of failed pictures or paintings. When I messed up a picture, I always using the back of the paper, making color experiments. Yes, and when I've found something I really like, I paint it in my little sketchbook, and then I write what color exactly it is and mixed with what, so I can switch back and yes, and not switch back. Yeah, you know what I mean, and can look what I've used there. Yes, and the last question I noticed is how I scan my watercolor paintings, my originals, and this is nothing special. Well, maybe it's a lot of people scan and do settings in the scan program. This is something I don't do. I scan it like it is, that all informations of color and the picture are still in the picture, so not make it the contrast too high. It's more a low contrast, and it don't look after scanning, it don't look nice. But then I open the picture in Photoshop and make all settings, or not settings, all color adjustments there. So color leveling, and also sometimes yes, a bluish filter. Do you say filter also? For example, when the paper is too yellowish or something, then I adjust all colors that it looks exactly like the original, and that the white of the paper don't have shadows anymore. And yes, and this is always different because I'm also paint on different papers, and yes, and I paint on when I paint, for example, on very white paper, it's sometimes a bit too blue. Then I have to put a warm filter on it, but just a tiny bit warm. And sometimes when I paint on yellowish paper, it looks very yellowish, then I put maybe a blue filter on it. But this is something I do it from painting to painting different. Well, these were the questions. I answer it here now. If you have more questions, please ask. I think I will do such videos from time to time where I have time for answering really high frequently questions. And oh, by the way, I'm using here the one of the papers I bought new, and you see in the last haul video. It's a Vidalon paper, and you see it's a really nice paper for watercolor, and not very expensive. But well, I will, as I said, in another video just about paper. Well, this is a bit maybe a bit difficult because there are so many papers and so different papers. Really, paper makes sometimes the difference with watercolors. It's not like, yes, again. So now last little details with my polychromos here, and also some correctness, not correction. Yes, here I'm using the gouache in my paint marker. And yes, I think I'm almost done now, and I hope you liked this video. If yes, I'm happy if you give me a thumb up. And if yes, and if you like my videos, please subscribe. And hopefully see you then in my next videos. Yes, bye and have a nice day, or yeah, evening, or whenever you watching the video. And I don't know if you now see the granulation, the turquoise granulation in the leaves. I think I hope I will zoom now. I did, but real-time videos are sometimes so boring. For me, I don't know. I'm not patient enough to watch real-time videos, maybe. So here you can see the beautiful granulation of this turquoise. I love it. Well, but now I'm done here, and I wish you a nice Sunday, nice day, and see you hopefully soon. Bye!